Hi, I'm Tim Ferriss. For my article essay, I chose an article from CNN.com called "The Fitzgerald and McCain Ships Report Were Avoidable." Um, the U.S. Navy has, some of the highest trained and best technically qualified people working on these ships. I was on the ships as well. I know I was there firsthand. And the training is unlike any other you read about, you see about. You have to be in the service to really understand what goes on and what these guys go through. And this article is from last summer, on July, August of 2017, where two U.S. warships in the Pacific Fleet collided with merchant vessels, which is this day and age is a little uncanny. There's world-class radar, everything else that's being used on the bridge of those ships, and it's a little bit flabbergasted as to how something like this could happen in this day and age, and because ultimately 17 sailors' lives were lost because of this accident, because of some incompetence from some leaders above, a combination of people being too tired, working way too long, way too many hours. I know that firsthand as well. And just a combination of all of that combined is what led ultimately to the mishap from the report. And people lost their jobs and lost lives because of what happened. So there was a report that came out a while ago about how sailors have 100-hour work weeks, was the quote. And from my experience, it was not too far off from that, where your average day, you would wake up in the morning, you would have barely any time to eat, you would go to work all day. After you work all day, you go to a watch. You stand your watch on your duty day, and then after that you have to eat, and then you go to sleep, and then in the middle of your sleep you wake up and you go on a watch again, only to have somebody relieve you about 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. And so you really only get about 5, 6 hours of sleep, if that. 5, 6 hours of interrupted sleep, I guess you could say, since you're forcing yourself to wake up. Those are not fun. Those were not fun days. There were some times where I just couldn't focus. My brain was too foggy. The Navy has you take standardized testing to advance in pay grade. The tests are 200 questions long and multiple choice, and just from getting off a watch in the middle of the night, you go the first thing in the morning and take your tests, and then your brain is just foggy. You can't think, you can't even do math, you can't do anything. It's just too much on your mind. You were just up for the previous 32 hours out of 48, or even more than that. You were just awake for less than that. But even so, the 100-hour work week was pretty true. They have since then, according to the article, they have clamped down on that and reduced training times, and have reduced the hours, that have made it so that duty sections are bigger, where you won't have to stand as many watches in a row, and you have ample time to eat, ample time to sleep for the most part. The commanding officers in these situations, who were the go-to and the leader on the ship, ultimately they lost their jobs. They were also went to court as well for manslaughter charges because of their incompetence. They didn't have the right watch team on the bridge. People that were unqualified and did not have things signed off in their watch qualification standards signed off. There were people that were up for too long, for 15, 16 hours, that were standing on the bridge doing the watch in the middle of the night. They're fixed to this today. Is like I said earlier, they are changing the way they do training. They are making duty days much less strenuous. They are adding more and better watch qualification standards, making it easier for new sailors to get trained and show them the proper way to get trained. I can assure you that now, since the mishap, since I've been out of the Navy as well, that the training is probably buckled down some, and that there's much more of a focus on attention to detail, and things like that. So that a mishap like this never, ever, ever happens again. I slept in those same exact kind of rooms where those guys slept, doing electronic warfare guys. That's where I slept too on the ship too. So it really hit home to me and really gave me quite a scare after. Even though I was out of the Navy at the time, it's quite a scare living on that ship amongst people like that, because everybody has each other's back. But when it hits the fan, as they say, your training is supposed to kick in, and it really did. And a lot more lives could have been lost, but thankfully that was not the case. So, and they are changing this today, like I said, and hopefully this will fix the issues. We have not had anything similar since. I don't believe for a long time, or if ever, something like this will probably happen again. So that's my article speech. Thank you.